As for our response, we must begin to dismantle the conspiracy's machine of big government. We must restore American independence. We must return our schools to local control. We must protect our police forces from federal aid, which is the certain path to a national police force controlled from Washington. We must denounce revenue sharing as a transparent device leading to control over local government. We must raise up men for political office who not only talk about reducing government, but who will do it once they're elected. And that means men who are totally independent of establishment politics.
What if I told you, you didn't just sell your soul once, but started giving it away before you even knew it was yours to lose? It all started when you were a child. You traded your fire for a gold star, your honesty for an easy night, your weirdness for a place at the table. But here's what nobody warns you. Almost every adult you know is still making those trades, just with better language. They call it professionalism, productivity, or even maturity. But underneath, it's the same quiet transaction. Energy for approval, aliveness for predictability, presence for performance. And the most elegant part of this trap, nobody had to take anything from you. You did it all yourself. You were trained to self-administer the sacrifice, to shelve your spirit, to dim your voice, to make yourself useful first and human second. Most people won't notice. They'll call the hollow feeling adulthood. They'll call the soul debt reality. But if you're still here, some part of you still remembers what it felt like before you sold your soul. Imagine you saw the contract now, clearly in your hands. Would you keep signing? Or would you finally ask the question that undoes the whole thing? Who taught me to treat myself as a resource? And who benefits when I forget I was never meant to be for sale? In this full no-nonsense guide, we're not just exposing the contract, we're showing you how to break it. How to reclaim the energy you've been leaking through habits, roles, and quiet compliance. You'll learn the invisible rituals that keep your spirit on autopilot, and how to replace them with ones that return you to yourself. This isn't about escaping life. It's about rewriting the terms, so your life finally feels like yours. The devil doesn't need to appear in a puff of smoke when his contracts come disguised as normal life. They will convince you that everyone does it, or that it's only temporary, or worse, that you're even lucky to have this. If you would be lucky, you wouldn't need someone else's advice. But while you're looking at celebrities in gilded cages, thinking that's where soul selling happens, you miss the contract being slipped under your own door every morning when your alarm goes off for a job that's slowly killing you. Welcome. This video guide right here is the only place that tells you how to see the contract and burn it. Because here's what they don't want you to know. The biggest soul-selling operation in history isn't happening in Hollywood. It's happening in your childhood bedroom, your classroom, your first job, your daily routine. And it started long before you could even read the fine print. The real soul contract starts before you can talk. Let's go back to when you were about 3 years old, running wild in your backyard, talking to trees, convinced you can fly, creating entire worlds in your imagination. You had pure, creative fire, with unlimited possibility. But then they start the programming. Sit still, be quiet, color inside the lines, don't ask so many questions. Every time your wild spirit gets tamed, a little piece of your soul gets traded away. For what? Safety, approval, the promise that if you're a good child, you'll be loved. Your energy is systematically programmed for obedience from day one. They're programming fear into your subconscious before you can even walk. Fairy tales aren't entertainment, they're spiritual conditioning. Be afraid of the dark. Stay on the path. Don't question authority. The wolf is always lurking. Prince Charming will save you, but only if you're pure and passive enough. Every children's story teaches the same lesson, repackaged over and over. Your safety depends on compliance. Even worse, your worth depends on being chosen by someone with more power, which couldn't be further from the truth. And school isn't just education, it's spiritual debt collection. They take a wild, creative, questioning being and force them to sit in rows for 12 years, training them like dogs. Ring the bell, move to the next room. Ring the bell, eat lunch. ring the bell, go home. Gold stars for compliance, punishment for wildness, detention for questioning, medication for having too much life force. Pay attention, they say, not realizing they're literally demanding you pay your most precious resource, your attention, to subjects designed to bore your soul into submission. And math class isn't about numbers. It's about learning that there's only one right answer and someone else always knows it. History class isn't about the past. It's about learning that authority figures write the story. And your job is to memorize their version without questioning. English class takes the magic of language, the spells that create reality, and turns it into grammar rules that squeeze the poetry out of your soul. Think about this. When did you stop believing you could be anything? When did you stop talking to animals? When did you stop making up songs? When did you stop dancing like nobody was watching? That wasn't natural development. That was systematic soul extraction. The childhood pawn shop operates on simple trades. Trade your curiosity for safety. Don't ask so many questions, just do what you're told. Every trade seems reasonable at the moment. What parent doesn't want their child to be safe? What teacher doesn't want their classroom under control? What society doesn't want productive citizens? But here's what they don't tell you. And this is the part that'll make your blood boil. Every time you trade away a piece of your authentic nature, someone else gets richer. Your compliance becomes their control. Your conformity becomes their power. Your silence becomes their profit. Think I'm being dramatic? Follow the money. The education system isn't designed to create free thinkers. It's designed to create obedient workers who will spend their lives making other people wealthy, while never questioning why they're barely surviving. That's not a bug in the system. That's a feature. They need you to be compliant, not creative. Followers, not leaders. Consumers, not creators. Because a child who questions everything grows up to be an adult who can't be controlled. And controllable humans, that's the foundation of every system that profits from suffering. They teach you just enough to operate the machines that make them rich, but not enough to understand how the game is rigged against you. By the time you graduate, you've been so thoroughly programmed that you'll voluntarily walk into corporate jobs that continue the extraction process. You'll call it success, when you're really just a more sophisticated version of the compliant child they created. Most adults today are just kids with longer to-do lists and tighter collars, still chasing gold stars. Only now they call them promotions. Blink, and you'll realize the only thing that changed was the playground. What did you give up before you even knew it was yours? Close your eyes right now. Go back to who you were at 5 years old. What did you love? What made you feel alive? What dreams did you have before someone told you they were impossible? Feel that little person inside you. They're still there, buried under years of programming, waiting for you to remember. That child knew things the adult had forgotten. They knew they were magic. They knew they were infinite possibilities. They knew they were here for something greater than paying bills and dying. Every "be realistic" was a theft. Every "you can't do that" was a limitation installed in your consciousness. Every "stop dreaming" was your soul being slowly amputated. The saddest part? Most adults don't even remember what was taken from them. They've been walking around spiritually amputated for so long, they think the numbness is normal. This is why most people feel so tired, have no motivation, and feel lost. The world is full of grown-ups with empty eyes, mistaking their exhaustion for maturity. Deep down, they're just children grieving the parts of themselves they were told to bury. They send their own children to the same soul-crushing institutions, perpetuating the cycle because they don't know there's another way. But here's what the system fears. Children who remember their magic. Kids who refuse to be tamed. Young people who see through the programming and refuse to participate. Because a child who knows their true nature grows up to be an adult who can't be controlled. And controllable humans are the foundation of every system that profits from suffering. The first contract you signed was written in invisible ink on your first day of school. Every gold star, every grade, every good job for following directions was payment for pieces of your wild, free, unlimited self. But contracts signed under coercion aren't valid. And you were a child. You couldn't consent to what you didn't understand. Which means every piece of your soul that was traded away can be reclaimed. The question is, are you ready to remember who you were before they told you who to be? Also, drop a comment with one thing you loved as a child that you stopped doing because someone said it wasn't practical or realistic. If you found a memory, this is your sign to go back after it. But the truth actually is that the system isn't after your mind. Well, it is, but not at first. First, it's after your energy. Your mind will follow. But your energy, that's your most valuable possession. It's your life force, your spiritual power. That's the real currency. And they've built an entire civilization designed to extract it from you without you ever realizing what's happening. Every single day, you participate in rituals. Every ritual is an energetic transaction. When you repeat something often enough, it shapes your beliefs, directs your focus, and programs your subconscious. Take television. The moment you're sitting in front of a screen, you're actually absorbing stories designed to trigger fear, outrage, or distraction night after night, reinforcing the same narratives and anxieties. They didn't name it television by accident. It's television, projecting a world onto your mind, shaping your sense of what's real, what's possible, what's worth fearing or chasing. And the shows themselves, they call them programs, because that's exactly what they're doing. Programming your thoughts, your reactions, your expectations for life. Sit long enough, and it's not just your beliefs that change, it's your very sense of self. The real magic trick isn't what happens on the screen, it's what slowly, quietly happens inside you. But here's what they don't tell you. Rituals are a kind of spiritual technology. Think of them like invisible machines. Every action, every repeated gesture is like pressing a button or flipping a switch in the unseen world. These rituals move energy, shaping how you feel, what you focus on, and even what you attract in your life. And most of the rituals you think are normal. They're siphons pointed directly at your soul. It's like electricity in your house. Flip the right switch and the lights turn on. But flip another, and power gets diverted somewhere else. Everyday rituals, whether it's lighting a candle, making a morning coffee, or even standing for a national anthem, are all energetic switches. Some give you power. Some quietly take it away. That's the secret. Whoever designs the ritual controls where the energy flows. Most people just follow along, not realizing every routine is either charging their spirit or draining it for someone else's benefit. Think about your typical week. Monday morning, you participate in the ritual of commuting, sitting in traffic, stressed, burning your life force before you even get to work. You think it's just transportation. It's actually an energy harvesting ceremony where millions of people simultaneously feed their frustration and time into a system that profits from their suffering. Office birthdays, mindless holidays, fake celebrations where you're forced to smile and pretend to care about people you barely know. You think it's being social. It's actually a group ritual where your authentic energy gets replaced with performative energy that serves the collective lie. But maybe you already know this. Maybe you don't care. But it's real. And Christmas isn't about love. It's a massive energy extraction ceremony disguised as family time. You stress for months, spend money you don't have, force relationships that drain you, all while telling yourself it's about joy and giving. Meanwhile, corporations harvest billions from your guilt, your fear of disappointing people, your need to prove you're a good person through consumption. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, every Hallmark holiday is the same scam. They create artificial pressure, artificial deadlines, artificial emotional manipulation, then profit from your panic and guilt when you participate in their manufactured ritual of proving love through spending. But the most insidious rituals are the ones that seem personal. That job where you pretend to care about quarterly profits while your soul dies a little more each day. That's not employment. That's a daily ritual of spiritual sacrifice, where you offer up your life force on the altar of someone else's wealth. If you don't choose your rituals, someone else will choose them for you and profit from your spirit. Every tradition, that's just how things are done. Every social expectation is a ritual someone designed to extract value from your participation. The question is, who benefits? When you stand for the national anthem, who benefits from your patriotic energy? When you work overtime to get ahead, who benefits from your extra hours? It's never you. The most powerful rituals are the ones you don't recognize as rituals. Your weekend routine, shopping, entertainment, escapism. That's a ritual that ensures any energy you recovered during your off time gets channeled back into consumption and distraction. Now stop for a second. Look around. What are you giving your energy to right this moment? Who benefits from your attention being here instead of on your own life, your own dreams, your own soul's calling? Even watching this video, who benefits? Are you learning something that serves your awakening? Or are you just consuming content that makes you feel informed while keeping you passive? The ritual of consumption itself is designed to replace the ritual of creation. Instead of making music, you listen to Spotify. Instead of telling stories, you watch Netflix. Instead of creating community, you scroll social media. You've been programmed to be a consumer of other people's creativity instead of a creator of your own reality. More and more, they want us all to be passive, watching, buying, scrolling, but never making. The goal is a world with one option for everything. One sound, one look, one way to talk, one approved thought. We're being shaped to wear the same brands, eat the same food, repeat the same phrases, and fit into the same mold. That's why music, movies, even books feel emptier now. Most people are energetically numb, buried under debt, running on autopilot. There's no time or spark left for real creativity. No wonder the world feels full of NPCs. With fewer real artists, fewer people who care about quality over quantity, or who take pride in creating something that truly matters. When everyone is just consuming, originality dies, and so does the magic of being alive. That's why the world feels so flat. Think back. When was the last time a movie shook you awake or made you feel something? When The Matrix dropped in 1999, it wasn't just a film. It was a shockwave. It forced people to question reality. It made you feel alive. Same thing with music, albums from that era. Artists used to pour their soul into every track. Bands with unique sounds. But now, how many new movies genuinely change the game, ask real questions, or dare to tell a story we haven't heard 1,000 times before? Where are the albums that stop you in your tracks? The bands that feel like they've opened a portal to something new? It's all algorithms and safe bets, streamlined, repeatable, forgettable. It's not that people don't want greatness. It's that the system rewards sameness. Real artistry takes energy, pride, and time. But when everyone's exhausted, indebted, and encouraged to just consume, the spark fades. That's why so much of what's produced today feels hollow. The world is starving for originality. But instead, we get endless sequels, remakes, and background noise. We didn't just lose the artists. We lost the conditions that allowed real art to be born. Now everything feels tense, competitive, even hostile. Everyone's guarding their energy, worried about judgment, too tired or afraid to reach out or stand out. The pressure to fit in and keep up has suffocated the freedom to be different, to create something weird or beautiful just for its own sake. Instead of following their heart, most people follow the script, afraid to break the rules, afraid to really live. Somewhere along the way, we traded connection and courage for comfort and compliance. And you can feel the loss everywhere. But here's what they're terrified you'll discover. You can create your own rituals. You can choose ceremonies that feed your soul instead of draining it. You can design practices that connect you to your power instead of giving it away. You can build traditions that serve your awakening instead of your enslavement. What if your morning ritual was meditation instead of news consumption? What if your evening ritual was creative expression instead of entertainment consumption? What if your weekend ritual was nature connection instead of mall wandering? The moment you realize that every repeated action is a ritual with spiritual consequences is the moment everything begins to change. That's when you start choosing rituals that feed your spirit instead of draining it. More people are beginning to wake up from the trance of so-called normal life. There's a growing awareness that something isn't right with the loop we're living in. The cracks in the matrix are getting harder to ignore, and every day, more souls are questioning the script, refusing to play along and breaking the spell. But in this matrix, seduction is the favorite weapon. Just like in the Matrix, the woman in red is never just a woman. She's a distraction, a trap hidden behind beauty. And that's exactly how negative energies work too. Evil doesn't announce itself with fangs and fire. It arrives looking like everything you've ever wanted. If the devil showed up with horns and a pitchfork, you'd shut the door without hesitation. But what if he arrived wearing your dreams, disguised as your perfect life? The most dangerous contracts are never signed in blood. They're written in gold, sealed with applause. It's like that influencer lifestyle you see online, the flawless feeds, the digital nomad dream, or the promise of endless adventure. It looks like freedom. But in reality, it's often a beautiful prison. Behind the smiles and filters, the authentic self is traded away for likes, for deals, for the illusion of success. It's easy to chase an image, not realizing the real cost is your own truth. And the most seductive traps are always the ones that sparkle. You trade your real thoughts for content that performs well. You trade your genuine experiences for moments that photograph beautifully. And the devil's greatest trick wasn't convincing the world he doesn't exist. It was convincing us that selling your soul looks like winning. The dream life is always on offer, and the price is always your authenticity. Take that perfect couple you see on social media, the ones who never fight, never struggle, always radiate joy. What you're seeing isn't love, but the fantasy of love, curated for public consumption. Behind the filters, the real relationship often withers under the weight of performance. Real love is private, messy, honest. It thrives in the moments nobody else sees. It can't be packaged, monetized, or shared for likes. But fake love, that's always for sale. It's polished, public, and profitable, making others rich through your envy and engagement. Validation replaces real connection. You stop being present with your partner because you're too busy staging the perfect dinner photo. Conversations become less about truth, more about scripting the next anniversary caption. Instead of experiencing your relationship, you're performing it for an invisible crowd. The substance gets sacrificed for the image. The connection becomes content. It's the same principle when someone films themselves handing food to the homeless or rescuing an injured animal on camera. The act might look good, but when the spotlight is more important than the soul behind it, the energy shifts. The real moment is lost, traded for applause. Even success stories, charity drives, friendships, these can all become currency in the marketplace of appearances, where the highlight reel is worth more than real life. Speaking of performing for an invisible audience, the reason you stop creating from your soul is because you're chasing what the algorithm rewards. You stop making music that moves you because you're making music that goes viral. You stop writing your truth because you're writing what gets engagement. Your energy is harvested by beautiful distractions. The beauty industry doesn't sell you beauty. It sells you insecurity dressed up as self-improvement. The fitness industry doesn't sell you health, it sells you shame dressed up as motivation. The self-help industry doesn't sell you solutions, it sells you problems dressed up as empowerment. Every beautiful distraction is designed to keep you focused on what you don't have, instead of appreciating what you do have. To keep you chasing the next level instead of enjoying this level. To keep you becoming instead of being. But the real spiritual path doesn't cost money. It costs ego. It doesn't require products. It requires practice. It doesn't need accessories. It needs authenticity. What would you have if you stopped chasing what looks good? Seriously, stop for a moment. What would your life actually look like if you stopped performing for others? The most beautiful people you know aren't the ones with the most followers. They're the ones who forgot to check how they look, because they're too busy living. The most successful people you know aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones who measure success by how alive they feel. But the system needs you to keep chasing external validation, because internal validation can't be monetized. They need you to keep seeking outside yourself, because finding yourself would make you ungovernable. Some people are walking away from the beautiful traps. They're choosing real over perfect, authentic over aesthetic, present over performing. They're discovering that the life they were chasing was keeping them from the life they already had. Because while everyone was busy reaching for someone else's version of success, something even more valuable was quietly being taken. The truth is, the new gold isn't money. It's attention, vibration, presence. Your energy is literally the world's most valuable commodity. More precious than oil, more sought after than diamonds, more fought over than territory. And you've been giving it away for free. Every corporation, every media company, every guru, every platform, they all want the same thing from you. Not your money. Your money is worthless paper. They want your life force, your attention, your emotional state, your vibrational frequency. Because whoever controls your energy controls your reality. Think about it. When you're angry, what do you buy? When you're scared, what do you consume? When you're lonely, what do you scroll? When you're insecure, what do you purchase? Your emotional state is their profit margin. Your vibration is their business model. Energy vampires are everywhere, and they're not just people. Netflix doesn't want to entertain you. It wants to harvest your time and attention while programming your subconscious with whatever agenda serves their corporate sponsors. Instagram doesn't want to connect you with friends. It wants to create enough envy and insecurity to keep you scrolling through ads disguised as content. The news doesn't want to inform you. It wants to keep you in a constant state of fear and outrage, because anxious people are predictable consumers. Your job doesn't want your skills. It wants your life energy. 8 hours a day of your irreplaceable existence traded for numbers in a bank account that lose value while you sleep. Your energy is being harvested in ways you can't even see. This is why they always make up a new war, and the reason why the news is always negative. Every time you argue with a stranger online, you're feeding the chaos algorithm that profits from division. Every time you check your phone compulsively, you're participating in an attention extraction ritual designed by neuroscientists to hijack your reward system. Every time you watch the news and feel helpless about problems you can't solve, you're having your power drained by people who profit from your despair. Even your good intentions are being weaponized against you. That political movement demanding your outrage, they're not after your vote, they're after your passion, your anger, your fear, your tribal loyalty. That's the real currency. They want to siphon your life force and weaponize your emotions, keeping you addicted to conflict while they cash in on your energy. The environmental crisis that keeps you up at night, while you're busy losing sleep over paper straws and guilt-washing every piece of trash, the real polluters are making billions off your anxiety. They sell you worry and you pay for it with your peace of mind. Companies don't want customers, they want energy sources. Starbucks doesn't sell coffee, they sell a ritual. They sell you the identity of starting your day right. Your morning motivation, your social currency, your productivity vibe. Those are what they're truly harvesting. The subscription economy isn't about providing services. It's about creating permanent energy drains on your consciousness. Netflix, Spotify, every app with monthly fees, they want to tap into your energy stream indefinitely and take your money at the same time. Worst of all, most people around you are unconscious energy vampires too. Most learn this the hard way. But remember that one friend who only calls when they need something. Energy vampire. Or that coworker who constantly complains but never changes anything. Also an energy vampire. And that family member who guilt trips you into visiting but makes you feel terrible when you're there. The worst energy vampire of them all. That romantic partner who keeps you in constant emotional chaos because they feed off drama. Another energy vampire. But most people don't know they're doing it. They've been so drained by the system that they unconsciously seek energy from others to refill their depleted tanks. But here's what they're all terrified you'll discover. Your energy is infinite when it's not being stolen. When you stop giving your life force to things that drain you, you don't run out of energy, you overflow with it. When you stop feeding your attention to systems designed to manipulate you, your natural state of peace and power returns. When you stop participating in energy extraction rituals disguised as normal life, you remember what it feels like to be fully alive. So where would your energy go if nobody else could touch it? Literally, imagine it. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your energy as a golden light flowing from your heart. Now imagine if no corporation, no guru, no energy vampire, no system could access it without your conscious permission. The most sophisticated spell in the world isn't cast with wands or rituals. It's whispered every time you're told, there's not enough time, not enough money, not enough love, not enough rest, not enough beauty, not enough security, not enough meaning. This is the scarcity spell, the mind virus engineered to keep you running in circles, always searching for solutions that don't exist. Because the real problem was manufactured to keep you enslaved. Scarcity is a system. There's no true shortage on this planet, only barriers to access. There's more than enough food to feed everyone, yet millions starve. More empty homes than people sleeping on the street. More tech to heal the world than ever. But we're still burning old fuels and fighting over crumbs. This not enough programming is why you compete instead of collaborate, why you consume instead of create, why you beg instead of build. And while you're caught up in a cycle of crisis, every headline a new emergency, every week a fresh disaster, every month another reason to stay afraid, the world keeps profiting from your exhaustion. They manufacture news cycles to keep you stuck in survival mode. War here, chaos there, the next global emergency waiting to hijack your energy. It's real, but the way it's served to you isn't meant to empower you. It's designed to keep you small, overwhelmed, and dependent on the very systems that profit from your struggle. Scarcity is the fuel of the economy. Artificial trends create artificial urgency. Black Friday stampedes, manufactured drops, FOMO sold by the minute. You didn't want it until they said you couldn't have it. Meanwhile, hypocrisy is everywhere. There's always money for war, never for healing. Trillions for defense, pennies for health. Essential workers praised and discarded. Billionaires play with rockets, while teachers buy their own supplies. There are solutions, there are resources. What's missing is the will, because real solutions would break the spell, and that would end the control. It's the great grocery store swap. You walk in hungry for real nourishment, but every aisle is filled with empty calories and distractions. You pay a premium for food that makes you hungrier. The real sustenance is kept locked away, somewhere you're never shown. It's the same everywhere. Education that confuses, healthcare that sickens, news that misinforms, entertainment that numbs. The real poverty isn't in your wallet. It's in the quality of what you're being sold. And the spell starts early. Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. Rich people are greedy. You have to work hard for everything. Children absorb it before they know how to question. By adulthood, scarcity is so deep in the bones that abundance feels suspicious, even wrong. You're programmed to believe wanting more is selfish, wealth is evil, and prosperity belongs to someone else. But here's the real scarcity. Scarcity of truth about how abundant this world actually is. Scarcity of education about how money actually works. Scarcity of knowledge about how energy moves, how creation happens, and how powerful you really are. Time scarcity, the cruelest lie of all. I don't have time is the modern mantra. But you have the same 24 hours as anyone who ever did something great. The real issue is energy. The systems harvesting your life force, leaving you drained and empty. When you're giving your best hours to someone else's dream, no wonder there's nothing left for your own. Now ask yourself, who profits from your fear and your lack? Every time you say, I can't afford it, someone cashes in on your limitation. Every time you whisper, I don't have time, someone gets paid by your exhaustion. Every time you say, that's impossible, someone profits from your disbelief. Who wins when you feel powerless? Who gets rich when you believe you're stuck? The scarcity in your life is not an accident, it's a business model. But some people are waking up. They're breaking the spell. They're seeing that abundance was never about having more stuff. It's about removing the blinders, dissolving the artificial walls, and coming home to your natural state of creative power. So ask yourself, what scarcity story have you been living by that might not actually be true? Who taught you to believe in lack? And what might change if you stepped outside the spell? Every compromise chips away at your soul like water wearing down stone. It's just a job. It's just this once. At least I'm safe. Everyone does it. I don't have a choice. Each phrase is a pawn ticket. Each justification is a receipt for another piece of your authentic self being traded away for the illusion of security. The pawn shop of spirit operates 24/7, and you're both the customer and the merchandise. You trade wildness for routine. Remember when you used to take spontaneous road trips? When you'd dance in your living room just because a song moved you? When you'd stay up all night talking about the meaning of life? Now you have a morning routine, an evening routine, a weekend routine. You've traded the unpredictable magic of being alive for the comfortable cage of knowing exactly what comes next. You call it being responsible. The pawn shop calls it a successful transaction. You trade rest for guilt. When's the last time you laid in bed without feeling like you should be productive? When did you last take a nap without calling it lazy? When did you sit in silence without reaching for your phone to fill the space? You've pawned your natural right to rest for the guilt-driven productivity that keeps you useful to systems that see you as a resource to be maximized, not a human to be nourished. You trade dignity for fitting in. That job where you have to pretend enthusiasm for products you don't believe in. That relationship where you bite your tongue to avoid conflict. That family gathering where you perform the role of who they expect you to be. Every forced smile is a pawn ticket. Every swallowed truth is a receipt. Every time you choose harmony over honesty, you're trading another piece of your dignity for the comfort of belonging to groups that don't actually want the real you. Story time. I knew a guy named Jake, who was a brilliant musician, could make a guitar sing like it was crying, laughing, and praying all at once. Had this fire in his eyes when he played, like he was channeling something divine. Then he got married, wanted to provide. Just temporarily, he said, taking a job at an insurance company. Just until I save enough to focus on music full-time. First month, the job's not that bad. At least it's steady income. 6th month, I'm too tired to play after work, but weekends are mine. First year, I bought a nice guitar with my bonus. This job has its benefits. 3rd year, Music is just a hobby now. I need to be realistic about providing for my family. 5th year. I saw him at a coffee shop. The fire in his eyes was gone. He talked about insurance premiums with the same passion he used to reserve for chord progressions. He'd pawned his soul piece by piece for comfort. And somewhere along the way, he'd forgotten he could buy it back. Each trade feels reasonable in the moment. I'll just take this corporate job for a year to pay off debt. Pawn ticket. I'll just stay quiet about my boss's racist joke to keep the peace. Pawn ticket. I'll just pretend to be happy in this relationship until things get better. Pawn ticket. I'll just put my dreams on hold while the kids are young. Pawn ticket. I'll just follow the path my parents want for me to avoid disappointing them. Pawn ticket. Every compromise seems small, manageable, temporary, but spiritual pawn shops operate on compound interest. The longer you leave your soul pieces there, the more it costs to get them back. The parent who stopped laughing, Sarah used to laugh until her stomach hurt. Had this infectious joy that could turn a bad day into an adventure. Then she became a responsible parent. Now she schedules fun, plans spontaneity. Has to check her calendar to see if she has time for joy. She traded her natural lightness for the heavy responsibility of being a good mother, according to standards set by people who profit from stressed, guilty parents buying more products to prove their love. Her children don't remember a mother who laughs freely. They know a mother who worries constantly and calls it love. You trade creativity for criticism. That poem you never wrote because someone might think it's silly. That business idea you never pursued because someone might think it's unrealistic. That conversation you never had because someone might think you're being dramatic. You've internalized the critic so deeply that you censor yourself before anyone else gets the chance. You've become your own pawn shop, trading creativity for the comfort of never being rejected. You trade presence for performance. Your vacation becomes a photo opportunity. Your dinner becomes content creation. Your relationship becomes a highlight reel. Your life becomes a brand. You're so busy documenting the experience that you miss experiencing it. You've pawned your presence for the performance of having a life worth envying. Analogy. Each trade is a pawn ticket. Can you ever buy it back? The spiritual pawn shop wants you to believe those pieces of your soul are gone forever, that you can't reclaim your wildness once you've chosen routine, that you can't find your voice once you've learned to be silent, that you can't rediscover your creativity once you've accepted being practical. But here's what they don't want you to know. The pawn shop doesn't actually own your soul pieces. They're just holding them hostage with your own limiting beliefs. Your wildness is still there, waiting under the routine. Your voice is still there, underneath the silence. Your creativity is still there, beyond the criticism. The pawn tickets are written in disappearing ink, but they convinced you the writing was permanent. Is your comfort worth your soul? Look around at your comfortable life, your predictable routine, your safe choices, your reasonable compromises. Now ask yourself, what pieces of your authentic self did you pawn to build this comfort? What aspects of your true nature are gathering dust in the spiritual pawn shop while you live in the safety you traded them for? Is the comfort worth it? Is the security worth the slow death of everything that made you uniquely, wildly, magnificently you? Some people are walking back into the pawn shop and demanding their soul pieces back. They're realizing that comfort without authenticity is just a prettier prison. What did you pawn for comfort that you're ready to reclaim? And the worst thing is, they've convinced you that the universe you're literally made of somehow requires accessories to connect with. Spirituality has been rebranded as consumerism. Manifest your dream life means buy our course on how to want more stuff. Abundance mindset means spend money you don't have on things that promise to make money. Trust the universe means trust us enough to give us your credit card information. You are divine means but you need our certification to prove it. But ancient spiritual traditions gave their wisdom freely, because they understood that charging for connection to the divine is like charging for air. Modern spiritual capitalism has convinced you that free wisdom isn't valuable wisdom. Buddha didn't have a Patreon. Jesus didn't sell courses. Indigenous elders didn't trademark their ceremonies. But somehow enlightenment now requires a payment plan. The cult of positivity. Ignore your pain, keep smiling, stay easy to control. Good vibes only is the most spiritually toxic phrase ever created. It's not about raising consciousness. It's about suppressing any emotion that might inspire you to change systems that profit from your suffering. Angry about injustice? You're attracting negativity. Sad about loss? You're in a low vibration. Afraid about the future? You need to trust the process. The positivity police don't want you to feel your authentic emotions, because authentic emotions lead to authentic action. And authentic action threatens systems built on compliant, spiritually bypassed consumers. Real spirituality includes the full spectrum of human experience. Real awakening means feeling everything deeply, not just the emotions that are comfortable for others. Love and light becomes spiritual bypassing. Instead of addressing systemic oppression, everything happens for a reason. Instead of taking action against injustice, just send love and light. Instead of setting boundaries with toxic people, forgive and forget. They've weaponized spiritual concepts to keep you passive, compliant, and comfortable with systems that extract value from your labor and life force. Real love sometimes looks like fierce boundaries. Real light sometimes illuminates uncomfortable truths. Real spirituality sometimes requires righteous anger at systems that harm innocent people. The manifestation trap keeps you focused on getting instead of giving. Notice how it's all about what you can get from the universe, never about what you can give. All about how reality can serve you, never about how you can serve life. Real manifestation isn't about manipulating reality to give you stuff. It's about aligning with your soul's purpose and letting that alignment naturally attract what serves your highest good and the good of all. But manifest your purpose doesn't sell as many courses as manifest your mansion. Real meditation makes you less likely to consume mindlessly. Real awakening makes you question authority. Real connection to the divine makes you less dependent on human institutions that claim to represent it. That's why authentic spirituality is often suppressed or co-opted. It's too dangerous to systems that profit from spiritual seeking rather than spiritual finding. But if it's really about freedom, why does it come with a price tag? Every time someone charges you for enlightenment, ask yourself, if this is really about liberating consciousness, why am I being financially enslaved to access it? If this is really about connecting to the divine, why do I need to pay human middlemen? If this is really about remembering my power, why does accessing it require giving my power away to someone else's system? The most profound spiritual experiences of your life probably happened for free, in nature, in silence, in moments of authentic connection, in times of crisis that cracked you open to truth. Your connection to the divine doesn't require a subscription. Your ability to manifest doesn't need certification. Your spiritual power doesn't come with a price tag. Let us know in the comments, what's the most money you've spent on spiritual products that didn't deliver what they promised? And another thing, you're told to worship celebrities for selling out, so you'll accept selling yourself. They parade broken people in front of you and call them success stories. Musicians who can't sleep without pills. Actors who hate their own faces. Athletes whose bodies are destroyed by the games that made them rich. These aren't heroes. They're cautionary tales dressed up as inspiration. But here's the real purpose. When you see someone successful who's clearly miserable, it normalizes your own misery. When you watch celebrities self-destruct after making it, you accept that suffering is the price of achievement. They want you to believe that selling your soul is just what successful people do. The humiliation ritual isn't just for stars, it's for everyone. Every worker is forced to smile while being disrespected. Every student is made to recite pledges to systems that will exploit them. Every rebel who has to bow to authority for success. You think the rapper in a dress on late-night TV is the humiliation ritual? That's just the visible one. The real humiliation happens in cubicles where people pretend enthusiasm for products they don't believe in. In classrooms where teachers force children to sit still for hours. In hospitals where doctors follow insurance protocols instead of healing patients. The system requires your dignity as an entry fee. Like the invisible dress. Remember the fairy tale about the emperor's new clothes? Everyone pretended to see beautiful garments because they were afraid to admit the truth. Now imagine everyone is wearing an invisible dress made of compromised dignity. The more successful you become in the system, the more elaborate your invisible dress of humiliation. The corporate executive who fires loyal employees to boost quarterly profits? Wearing the dress. The teacher who crushes students' creativity to meet standardized testing requirements? Wearing the dress. The doctor who prescribes medications they know are harmful because that's what the system rewards? Wearing the dress. The artist who creates work they hate because it sells? Wearing the dress. Everyone can see that these people have traded their integrity for position, but nobody talks about it because everyone is wearing their own version of the invisible dress. Your humiliation ritual was probably smaller and more personal. Maybe it was the job interview, where you had to pretend to be passionate about selling insurance when your real passion was painting. Maybe it was the performance review, where you had to thank your boss for opportunities that were actually exploitation. Maybe it was the family dinner, where you had to smile and nod while relatives made jokes that violated your deepest values. Maybe it was the relationship, where you had to apologize for having needs, boundaries, or opinions that inconvenienced someone else. Every time you performed compliance with systems that disrespected your humanity, you were participating in your own humiliation ritual. The manufactured heroes show you that dignity is optional. They celebrate athletes who play through injuries that will cripple them for life. Dedication. They praise entrepreneurs who sacrifice their families for billion-dollar companies. Visionary. They worship artists who destroy themselves for their craft. Authentic. The message is clear. To be extraordinary, you must be willing to sacrifice your humanity. To achieve greatness, you must accept degradation. To succeed, you must submit. But here's what they don't tell you. Most of these heroes are prisoners. Golden cages are still cages. Success without dignity is sophisticated slavery. The humiliation is always framed as initiation. Everyone has to pay their dues. You have to earn your stripes. This is just how the business works. Fake it till you make it. They convince you that degrading yourself is a rite of passage, that if you can just survive enough humiliation, you'll eventually earn the right to humiliate others. But the humiliation never ends. It just gets more expensive. The corporate ladder is just a hierarchy of who gets to humiliate whom. The system needs broken heroes to normalize breaking. When you see someone who made it, and they're clearly destroyed by the process, it prepares you to accept destruction as the natural cost of achievement. When celebrities have public breakdowns, it's not just entertainment, it's programming. It teaches you that success and sanity are mutually exclusive, that you have to choose between your dreams and your dignity. What was your price? Everyone has a price. The moment when they agreed to trade their dignity for something they wanted. The job that required you to compromise your values. The relationship where you had to shrink yourself to fit. The situation where you chose comfort over integrity. What was yours? What did you accept in exchange for your self-respect? What humiliation did you normalize because the alternative felt too scary? Most people can remember the exact moment when they first put on the invisible dress. The weight of it. The way it felt both foreign and familiar. The relief of belonging mixed with the grief of what was lost. Some people are taking off the dress. They're refusing to participate in humiliation rituals disguised as success. They're choosing dignity over advancement, integrity over income, authenticity over acceptance. What humiliation ritual are you ready to stop participating in? Here's how they use routine to steal your fire. The world runs on autopilot, and your spark dims with every day spent drifting. You wake up, check your phone, scroll the same apps, have the same thoughts, feel the same frustrations, make the same compromises, watch the same shows, fall asleep to the same worries. Day after day, week after week, year after year, until one day you realize you can't remember the last time you felt truly alive. Drifting is engineered by design. Social media loops that never end. Next episode, buttons that eliminate choice. News cycles that repeat the same outrage with different faces. Work schedules that fill every moment with someone else's priorities. The system is designed to keep you in motion without ever moving toward anything meaningful. Busy, but not productive. Active, but not alive. Consuming, but never satisfied. You're not living, you're being lived by algorithms, expectations, and autopilot patterns that were designed to extract value from your existence, while giving you just enough stimulation to keep participating. The drift steals your fire gradually. You don't wake up one day and decide to give up on your dreams. It happens slowly, one compromise at a time, one "I'll do it tomorrow" at a time, one "I don't have time" at a time. The musician who stops writing songs because work is exhausting. The writer who stops writing because social media is easier. The entrepreneur who stops innovating because the routine is comfortable. The parent who stops playing with their kids because there's always something more important to do. The fire doesn't die. It gets buried under layers of automatic living. You're kept too busy to notice you're dying inside. Meetings about meetings, emails about nothing, tasks that create more tasks. Entertainment that leaves you emptier than before. The hamster wheel spins faster and faster, but you never actually go anywhere. You mistake motion for progress, activity for achievement, busyness for purpose. Meanwhile, your soul is screaming for something real, something that matters, something that connects you to the reason you're here. The drift makes rebels into consumers. You were born to create, but you spend your life consuming other people's creations. You were born to question, but you spend your life accepting other people's answers. You were born to explore, but you spend your life following other people's paths. The system needs you to consume, not create. Buying, not building. Following, not leading. Every hour you spend scrolling is an hour you're not creating. Every day you drift is a day you're not designing your life. Every year you follow someone else's routine is a year you're not living your own purpose. Only intentional living, choosing, creating, fighting breaks the spell. Intentional living means making conscious choices instead of defaulting to autopilot. Creating means bringing something new into existence, instead of just consuming what already exists. Fighting means resisting systems that profit from your spiritual death. It means asking, "Why am I doing this?" instead of just doing what you've always done. It means choosing what serves my soul instead of what's easiest. It means demanding, "What's my purpose here?" instead of accepting, "This is just how life is." The drift ends the moment you remember you have a choice. You can choose different thoughts, different actions, different responses, different priorities. You can choose to create instead of consume, to question instead of accept, to live instead of drift. You can choose to interrupt the automatic patterns and ask, "Is this serving my highest good? Is this moving me toward who I'm meant to become? Is this honoring the divine spark within me?" So what do you think? Are you still alive or just still here? Stop for a moment. Feel your heartbeat. Notice your breath. Look around at your life. Are you actively choosing this moment, or are you just drifting through it? Are you creating your reality, or is your reality creating you? Are you living your life, or is your life living you? The difference between being alive and just being here is consciousness, awareness, choice, the fire. Some people are waking up from the drift. They're remembering that every moment is a choice. Every day is an opportunity to create something meaningful. Every breath is a chance to choose life over autopilot. Write down one automatic pattern in your life that you're ready to interrupt. See, the only way out is by claiming your energy, minute by minute. Not tomorrow, not when you have more money, not when the timing is perfect, not when everyone else is ready. Right now, this moment, this breath, this choice. The great energy rebellion starts with one simple recognition. Your life force belongs to you. Not your boss, not your family, not the algorithm, not the system. You. Interrupt the pattern. That moment when you automatically reach for your phone, stop and ask yourself, who am I about to give my attention to and why? That moment when you're about to say yes to something that drains you, pause. Ask yourself, is this serving my soul or someone else's agenda? That moment when you catch yourself performing happiness instead of feeling it, breathe. Ask yourself, what would authenticity look like right now? Every pattern interrupt is an act of revolution. Say no. No to overtime that steals time from your family. No to relationships that require you to shrink. No to entertainment that leaves you emptier. No to purchases that promise happiness but deliver debt. No to arguments with strangers about topics that don't affect your actual life. Every no to what doesn't serve you is a yes to what does. The system trains you to be afraid of disappointing others. But what about disappointing yourself? What about betraying your own soul for someone else's comfort? Your number is sacred. Your boundaries are holy. Your refusal to participate in energy extraction is a spiritual practice. Walk away from jobs that kill your spirit, from people who drain your life force, from places that make you feel small, from systems that demand your dignity as payment. Walking away isn't quitting, it's choosing yourself. It's refusing to participate in your own spiritual destruction. You were not born to be useful to systems that don't serve life. You were born to serve life itself. Create without an audience. Write the poem no one will read. Sing the song no one will hear. Dance like no one is watching because no one is watching. This is your life and it's worth living, or else someone else will do it for you. Create for the joy of creating, not for the validation of consuming. Make art for your soul, not for your social media feed. The most revolutionary act in a world obsessed with consumption is creation without commerce. Art without an audience. Expression without expectation. Protect your rituals, your rest, your love, your art, your pride. Your morning ritual is sacred. Don't let notifications invade it. Your rest is holy. Don't let productivity guilt corrupt it. Your love is precious. Don't let performance anxiety contaminate it. Your art is divine. Don't let market demands diminish it. Your pride is earned. Don't let humiliation rituals steal it. These are the treasures of your soul. Guard them like the sacred things they are. Real energy work is simple. Rest when tired, not when convenient. Create when moved, not when profitable. Connect when lonely, not when networking. Rebel when ordered to comply with what violates your values. Love when your heart opens, not when it's expected. Speak when truth wants to emerge, not when it's safe. Your body knows what you need. Your soul knows why you're here. Your heart knows who you really are. Trust these inner voices more than external authorities selling you solutions to problems they created. The only contract that matters is the one you write with your own soul, not the mortgage that pledges your death for shelter, not the job contract that trades your time for money, not the social contract that demands conformity for belonging, the contract between you and your deepest truth. the agreement to honor what makes you come alive, the commitment to serve what serves life. This contract is written in fire, signed in breath, renewed with every conscious choice to choose authenticity over approval, purpose over profit, love over fear. Real rebellion isn't loud, it's lived. You don't need to announce your awakening on social media. You don't need to argue with people who aren't ready to hear the truth. You don't need to convince anyone that your choices are valid. Just live them. Quietly, consistently, courageously. Choose your own thoughts instead of accepting programmed ones. Feel your own feelings instead of performing expected ones. Follow your own path instead of walking someone else's. Create your own meaning instead of consuming manufactured purpose. The energy rebellion is contagious. Every time you choose authenticity, you give others permission to do the same. Every time you refuse to participate in spiritual extraction, you make it easier for others to refuse. Every time you protect your energy, you inspire others to protect theirs. You're not just saving yourself, you're creating a template for freedom that others can follow. Who would you be if you owned your energy again? Close your eyes. Imagine if every drop of your life force that's currently being drained by systems that don't serve you suddenly returned. All that energy you've been giving to jobs that crush your spirit, relationships that diminish you, entertainment that numbs you, worry about things you can't control. What if all of that energy was suddenly available for what you actually care about? Who would you become? What would you create? How would you love? What impact would you have? That person isn't a fantasy. That's who you really are underneath all the energy drains. Some people are already living this way. They've stopped feeding the systems that feed on human suffering. They've reclaimed their spiritual sovereignty. They've remembered that their energy is their most precious resource. They're the early adopters of the new paradigm where humans remember their divine nature and refuse to be treated as spiritual livestock. What's the first energy drain you're ready to eliminate from your life? This part is for those who refuse to sleep. If you've watched this far, you're not a drifter. You're a wakeful spirit. You're someone who refuses to accept that spiritual death is the price of physical survival. Someone who knows there's more to existence than the hamster wheel they tried to convince you was life. You're dangerous to systems that require unconscious compliance to function. The system only wins if you keep signing the contract. Every day you're offered the same deal. Trade your authentic self for security, your creative fire for comfort, your spiritual sovereignty for social acceptance. And every day you have the power to refuse, tear up the contract. Not dramatically, just quietly, consciously, one choice at a time. Start over. Remember who you were before they told you who to be. Reclaim what you traded away before you knew its value. Design a life that serves your soul instead of someone else's profit margin. Every time you protect your energy, someone else wakes up. Your rebellion is bigger than your personal liberation. Every authentic choice you make gives others permission to make authentic choices. Every time you refuse to participate in spiritual extraction, you weaken the whole system. You're not just reclaiming your own energy, you're part of a collective awakening that's happening whether the system wants it or not. People are remembering that they're more than resources to be consumed, more than consumers to be manipulated, more than cogs in machines that profit from their suffering. They're remembering their divine beings, having a human experience, not human beings desperately seeking divine approval. This is the moment. Not someday when you're more prepared, not tomorrow when you have more courage, not next year when the timing is better. Right now, this breath, this choice, this opportunity to choose consciousness over compliance, authenticity over automation, life over sleep. The contract is in front of you again, like it is every moment of every day. The same offer. Trade your soul for scraps, your fire for comfort, your truth for acceptance. But now you see it. Now you know. what you're really being asked to sign away. Now you understand the true cost of the comfortable prison they're offering. Comment: I see the contract. Share if you're taking your spirit back. Not because you need to announce your awakening, but because your courage gives others permission to be courageous. 500,000 strong. Let's make this the moment they realize the game is over. The moment they understand that humans are waking up faster than they can put them back to sleep. The moment they recognize that the age of unconscious compliance is ending. You're not just watching a video, you're participating in the Great Awakening. Welcome to the rebellion.